Miraculous wealth and divine energy manifested in just 2 minutes, confirmed by prophetic frequencies. In the heart of a quaint English village, amid the cobblestone paths and flower-laden cottages, a wave of divine energy washed over Mary. Her life, a tapestry woven with love, chaos, and unyielding faith, was suddenly threatened. The weight of uncertainty pressed down hard like a thunderstorm before the lull. One moment, she was a devoted mother with steady employment, and the next, she faced devastating job loss and the terrifying specter of eviction. But Mary was not alone. Each evening, she slipped into the warm embrace of the chapel, her sanctuary of hope. The air buzzed with a holy whisper, and the flickering candles danced like fluttering angels. It was here, beneath the majestic stained glass that filtered heavenly light, she found solace in daily prayers directed to Saint Joseph, the patron saint of workers and families. Mary's heart, heavy with desperation, sought refuge in the divine. Yet she felt her spirit waver, her faith tangled in shadows of doubt, especially as the bills multiplied and the days wore thin. One evening, the pastor uplifted the weary souls gathered at community prayer with a message that felt like a direct call from above. Believe and claim what is already destined for you. His voice soared, ringing clear in the hearts of every believer present. As those words echoed through Mary's mind, a spark ignited within her. Hope flickered defiantly against the backdrop of her struggles. Days passed, and the weight of the world pressed on her. Each knock at the door filled her with jitters, each letter a reminder of her precarious situation. Amidst this chaos, Mary rummaged through her grandmother's jewelry box, desperately seeking a token of hope. Her fingers brushed against a delicate locket, worn by time yet pulsating with memories, a treasure that held a prayer card invoking Saint Joseph. Clutching it tightly, she felt something shift, an awakening of her spirit. That evening in the chapel, beneath the serenade of soft whispers and flickering candlelight, she poured her heart out to the heavens. Lord, I believe in miracles. I claim the abundance you have destined for my family. The vibrational energy in the room shifted palpably, the air thick with anticipation, almost electric. Just then, the shrill ring of her phone broke through, the kind of interruption that felt orchestrated from above. Hello, a soft voice said. Unidentified but persistent. I've heard your story. I want to help you. The words washed over her like a balm, an anonymous benefactor woven into her thread of life at just the right moment. The chapel buzzed with joy, hearts aligning in a chorus of gratitude, prayers ascending as they collectively celebrated what seemed like a divine answer to her anguished cries. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Yet even in those moments spun from delight, Mary grappled with greater questions. What other miracles lingered just out of sight? Was this intervention a sign of lush horizons ahead, or a fleeting whisper before a storm? The warmth of newfound hope clashed with the chill of her unresolved fears. As she stepped outside the chapel, the weight of worry once again wrapped around her heart. What would happen when the money ran out? Would she find the strength to weather future trials? The village pulsated with prayer, but shadows loomed heavy. How far would her faith carry her in the uncharted skies ahead? God had answered her initial plea, but was this merely the prologue to a deeper journey waiting to unfold? Mary stood for a moment outside the chapel, her heart heavy yet filled with flickers of hope. The evening sky painted itself in hues of indigo and lavender, a perfect canvas for the prayers that had reverberated all around her. She felt a wave of peace ripple through her. It was as if the divine presence lingered in the air, encouraging her to look beyond the immediate troubles that clouded her mind. As she made her way home, she recalled the voice on the phone, surprisingly calm amidst her turbulent thoughts. Who could this benefactor be? Could it have been an angel sent in human form? The unknown sparked an ember of curiosity in her heart. Each step felt lighter than the last, yet doubts danced provocatively at the edges of her mind. When she crossed her threshold into the coziness of her home, the faint smell of her favorite lavender candles greeted her, soothing her frayed edges. Mary hugged the locket tightly, cherishing the memories of her grandmother, a woman of unwavering faith. It was in those cherished moments of remembrance that she understood. The real miracle lay not just in monetary help, but in the bonds of love and community woven around her. "How do I lean into this blessing?" she whispered, her voice hoarse with emotion. Amidst nimble fingers she took to the kitchen, preparing dinner for her children. Each stirring of the pot was a prayer. Each ingredient added encompassed her gratitude. She fervently hoped they could feel the transformation in their mother, an echo of faith surging through her like a tide. Dinner was served, and as they gathered around the table, she shared her day with an enthusiasm that belied her worries. Her children, oblivious to the dark clouds gathering in the back of her mind, laughed, sharing stories from school and dreams of the future. In their innocent chatter, she found a sliver of joy that ignited her spirit. But moments later, the evening news flickered on, slicing through the laughter. A report of economic struggles and families facing eviction shifted Mary's heart once again. She swallowed hard. Would her family be swept into that tide? However, just as despair threatened to rise, she felt a gentle tug within her, a divine reminder that faith often blooms through shadows. Turning off the television, she reached for her grandmother's locket, running her fingers over the worn metal as tears pooled in her eyes. "Lord, guide me through this challenge," she breathed, envisioning the miraculous unfolding of her dreams, just as the pastor had said. That night, sleep was elusive, her heart wrestling between hope and anxiety. Thoughts of the benefactor replayed in her mind like a comforting melody. Who had reached out? What were the depths of this grace? With the dawn breaking, she woke renewed, determined to embrace whatever was to come. When Mary arrived at the chapel for morning prayer, the community buzzed with anticipation, each face lit with dawn's light and divine energy. As she mingled with familiar souls, she felt an unshakable bond, a web of support firmly holding her in place. What potential does this grace hold? She pondered. Just as she settled in to pray, her heart raced. Could it be that the generous soul would reveal themselves today? It was then an unexpected figure caught her eye. A short man with kind eyes and a warm smile approached her, an air of gentle authority surrounding him. His presence was reassuring, as if he carried the wisdom of generations distilled in his very being. "Mary," he said softly, "I've come to speak with you about your future." What could he possibly share? The air crackled with the promise of revelations yet to be unveiled. With her heart pounding, Mary readied herself for what was to come, knowing she stood at the precipice of an extraordinary journey. Mary took a deep breath, her heart racing like a drum, urging her to listen closely. The man's eyes, so warm and inviting, held a wisdom that pierced through her anxieties. She sensed an energy surrounding him, a divine resonance that made her spirit lift slightly. "Please sit with me," he offered, gesturing to a simple wooden bench in the chapel's corner. She hesitated only for a moment before joining him, her palms sweating slightly against her jeans. "Your community needs you," he began, his voice calm yet firm. "God has blessed you with courage and faith, but there's more. You possess a light within you, one that yearns to shine for others." She felt a flicker of something broader, something purposeful. It felt as if his words were drawing forth elements of her spirit she didn't even know existed. Mary searched his face, hoping to find some answers to questions she hadn't even voiced yet. "Your benefactor is part of a plan bigger than yourself," he continued. "You are called to share your blessings, to engage in the art of giving." His declaration wrapped around her like a warm hug. The thought swelled within her. Could her struggles be a prelude to something more significant? Every act of love, every moment of inspiration, these are the threads that weave hope into the fabric of our lives, the man spoke. Trust this journey that unfolds. The divine awaits at each turn. Mary felt tears prick her eyes, a mix of gratitude and realization pulsing through her. "But how?" she whispered, trembling slightly. "How can I give when I'm still finding my way?" The man smiled, his gaze steady. "You already are. The love you foster each day, that's enough. The goodness you infuse into your children's laughter, that's your mission. Just like the loaves and fishes, what seems small can be multiplied to feed the multitudes." Her spirit soared at the thought. I never considered my life in that light. It feels like everything has a purpose. Exactly, he interrupted gently. Let not your current struggles detain your heart. The support you provide goes beyond material wealth. It's the spiritual wealth that requires nurturing. Suddenly, Mary's mind filled with images, the people she could reach, the faith she could inspire. She grasped the locket around her neck with renewed purpose. I see now. It's not just about me. It's about sharing this grace. A knowing smile spread across his face. Our lives are intertwined for a reason, to be vessels of grace to one another. Trust the process. As he spoke, Mary felt a wave of conviction wash over her. An assortment of thoughts buzzed in her head, ideas of how she could serve her community, reach those in need. The morning light streamed through the chapel's stained glass window, casting colorful patterns across their faces. Your journey starts today, Mary. He leaned in closer. But remember, faith doesn't eliminate trials. It reassures us during them. Will it always be like this, uncertain and challenging? She flipped her locket nervously between her fingers. Only until you recognize the power within you, he responded, his eyes sparkling like stars against a midnight sky. And that is the essence of the faith you carry. With that, a profound silence enveloped them, punctuated only by the muffled sounds of the community nurturing their own moments within the growing light of dawn. Every heart present echoed with hopes and dreams, lifting collectively toward the heavens. But as the moment stretched on, Mary felt a slight shift in the atmosphere. A sudden prickling of awareness crawled up her spine. An unexpected energy brushed against her skin, as if divine hands were preparing to unveil something monumental. Are you ready for what God has in store? He asked, a knowing nod acknowledging the shift. Just then, an unexpected commotion arose at the front of the chapel. Mary's heart raced. What awaited them now? There was an undeniable pull that she couldn't ignore. Perhaps a true divine surprise is on the horizon, he suggested with a gentle grin, his words igniting Mary's curiosity, compelling her to rise and seek what miraculous event was unfolding. As she made her way toward the front, hope blooming ever more fiercely within her, she felt as if she were stepping into a moment that would forever alter the course of her journey. Mary moved through the soft light of the chapel, each step a silent prayer, a heartbeat of anticipation. The air felt charged, bustling with an invisible energy, as whispers stirred among the congregation. People were leaning forward, straining to see what was happening at the altar. As she approached the front, a woman's voice cut through the murmurs, sharp, yet threaded with hope. Please, if you're led, share your story. Mary glanced around, taking in the faces of those gathered. Kindred spirits, all radiating a similar yearning for connection, for understanding. In that moment, she felt a tug in her heart, a yearning to respond, to offer her own light, her voice. Who feels the call? The woman implored, her eyes shimmering like beams of light. Mary stepped forward. It wasn't just her journey that felt important. It was the reminder of the journeys intertwined with hers. I'm still learning. Her voice was quieter than she intended, yet as she spoke those words, her confidence began to grow. My struggles have felt heavy. They pushed me to turn away from what God has for me. But now I see I can share this burden with others. The room fell silent. All eyes were locked onto her, encouragement washing over her like waves of grace. A gentle hand settled on her shoulder. It was the man from before, an anchor in this moment, ensuring she felt the divine presence surrounding her. You're doing great, Mary. Keep going. Her breath steadied. I have realized that in every trial there's a chance to reflect God's love, whether it's sharing a meal, lending a listening ear, or simply smiling at a neighbor. At that, an elderly gentleman rose from his seat and exclaimed, Yes, your words hold weight. We each carry our own burdens, yet we also carry the light of the divine. Each of us has something to give. His words erupted the energy in the room. A symphony of nods and murmurs echoed back, amplifying the fire within Mary. God has gifted us treasures within, she continued, emboldened. It might seem small, but imagine how it multiplies through our combined light. In that moment, light burst through the stained glass windows, sending a cascade of colors dancing around the chapel. It was as if heaven itself was confirming her words. Suddenly, a younger woman with tear-filled eyes stood up. I've been afraid to share my story, but listening to you makes me feel brave." Around her, people clapped gently, rallying their support like a wave of spiritual harmony, and Mary realized they were all growing together. As the warmth of community wrapped around her, she noticed the man smiling approvingly, as if her soul was finally realizing its full importance. "Blessings come in unexpected forms," he whispered to her, his face glowing with pride. "Embracing the unknown can lead to miraculous outcomes." The moment was electric with potential. It swayed through the gathering like a blessing waiting to unfold. Just as Mary was hitting her stride, however, a loud gasp emerged from the crowd. "Look! The altar!" someone shouted in awe, pointing toward a brilliant light gathering in the center. Mary turned her gaze, wild with curiosity and a hint of apprehension. What new wonder awaited them? The manifestation of something divine felt imminent, tinged with whispers of faith and expectancy. "What is happening?" Mary breathed, barely able to contain her intrigue. The man beside her leaned closer, his voice low and encouraging. "Sometimes miracles emerge from the hearts of the faithful. Hold on to this moment. It's just the beginning." Every eye was riveted on the growing light, hearts full of expectation. What revelation was about to burst forth? Mary's spirit soared, ready to receive whatever God had planned. The brilliance at the altar intensified, bathing the entire chapel in a warm golden glow. Each flicker of the light seemed to resonate with the heartbeat of everyone present, pulsing in tandem with their hopes and dreams. Mary stood there, captivated, her heart racing as she felt a wave of divine grace sweep over her. Veils of color danced and shimmered as if the very essence of joy was spilling forth from that holy space. Whispers turned into gasps, and gasps turned into soft prayers murmured from various corners of the chapel. It felt as if heaven itself were pouring out love and inspiration, mingling with the anticipation swelling in every soul. "Is this a miracle?" someone whispered, awe-laden tones hanging in the air. Mary's gaze remained locked onto the source of light. It was both blinding and inviting, a sacred beacon illuminating their intimate gathering. The man next to her seemed equally entranced, his eyes reflecting desire and reverence. "Miracles," he spoke softly, "are the footprints of faith on the earth. Each step we take with purpose gives cause for them to flourish." His words struck deep within Mary, igniting something profound. She realized each story shared, every heart opened, was a thread weaving them together, creating a strong tapestry of faith. For a brief moment, she sensed the burdens of the world lifting, echoing the melodies of forgotten hopes. As the brilliance waned slightly, the voice from the front of the chapel returned, still vibrant and filled with encouragement. "Feel the healing, feel the love. It's here among us. Share it." The younger woman who had stood up earlier spoke again, her voice soaring now like a bird taking flight. "My fear held me locked in darkness, but now I see through this light that the darkness is only a part of the journey." With each passing moment, more hearts opened, and more voices joined her. Mary felt the warmth of community seep into her very bones, affirming that no one was meant to walk alone. "Trust and let go," someone urged. A ripple of agreement spread across the gathering. Heads nodded, spirits were rising. It was an anthem of surrender. Mary closed her eyes and lifted her hands, letting the warmth wash over her. Peace enveloped her heart like a soft embrace. She didn't need to know all the answers. The depth of this moment was profound enough. God was present, moving in ways she couldn't yet comprehend. The light dimmed just a fraction, but the atmosphere remained charged, humming with an unseen energy that promised transformation. Each day held the potential for renewal, for healing, and for the miraculous spillover of joy. Suddenly, a trumpet sound pierced the air, catching everyone's attention. It was a physical reminder of something stirring, a call, a command, a divine signal. "Be ready for breakthrough," the voice echoed throughout the chapel. An expectancy trembled through the crowd, a palpable force igniting their spirits. Mary found herself drawn deeper into this reality. "What do you think will happen?" she asked the man beside her, her heart quivering with excitement. He leaned closer, a knowing smile gracing his lips. "When God moves, things change. Get ready for something new, Mary. Something you've never experienced before." With eyes wide open, Mary turned once more to the altar, her heart racing with anticipation. What was God about to unveil? What new journey awaited her and her companions in faith? The moment hung thick with possibility, drawing them closer to the edge of revelation. The atmosphere in the chapel thickened, pregnant with possibilities just waiting to be born. Mary could feel the heartbeat of the place, resonating in waves around her. Each breath she took felt like an echo of countless prayers lifted before the altar, mingling with her own fervent wish, an earnest longing for the miraculous to transform her life. A hush fell over the gathering, as if the whole world paused to listen to a deeper truth. The trumpet-like call still echoed in her ears, a divine beckoning that promised something extraordinary. As Mary stood there, the golden light from the altar seemed to dance around her, as if it recognized her yearning. "Let your heart be open," a voice called from somewhere in the dim glow. Mary turned towards it, another soul sharing in this sacred moment. The man beside her clasped her hand gently, conveying a silent strength. "What is it you seek?" he asked, his voice a reverential whisper even amidst the rising intensity. Mary hesitated, her thoughts bouncing. "I want to understand my purpose. I want healing. For my family, for me." Without breaking eye contact, he nodded knowingly. "Then feel the love. Let it fill you." Tears brimmed in her eyes as she closed them once more, surrendering to the enveloping warmth. She envisioned each worry lifting like smoke, fading away into the air. In her heart, she began to chant a prayer, a simple refrain of faith, asking for guidance, clarity, and a renewed spirit. "Release your burdens," the voice from the altar urged, cracking the silence. "When we give, we receive." The congregation shifted, every individual finding their own rhythm in a collective deepening of faith. Mary sensed tangible connections forming, hearts and souls intertwining with the divine through invisible threads of love. She felt her isolation wash away, replaced with an overwhelming awareness of kinship. Suddenly, a beam of light broke forth again, illuminating a figure standing at the altar. The presence was unmistakable. A moment of divine revelation sparked in the air around them. "Prepare yourselves," the figure declared, authority lacing his voice. "For at this hour, miracles shall flow like rivers. What has been burdensome shall become fertile ground for what is to sprout." Mary gasped, a wave of energy pulsing through her. The air held a taste of electric hope, and she felt alive, a spark igniting within her spirit. Could it be? Could broken fragments of her life truly transform into a beautiful new beginning? In that instant, understanding filled her like a gentle tide. God wasn't just an idea here. He was real, pouring forth his abundance to those who dared to believe. She felt a call to act, to embrace the movement within her. "Hold your dreams close," echoed the voice. "Proclaim the impossible, speak it into existence." With renewed fervency, she opened her mouth and vocalized her dreams, her aspirations spilling forth like a waterfall. Healing, peace, purpose splashing into the sacred space. The energy around her grew denser, vibrating with faith and expectancy. The room reverberated with harmonized voices, growing in strength. Cries of hope punctured the air, voices of those who dared to dream of transformation. As the crescendo peaked, suddenly everything fell quiet, a sacred stillness settling among the congregation. Mary could feel the weight of the world lift, replaced by a holy calm. Just as the tumultuous waves crashed in the ocean, attention filled and then released, leaving the shoreline soft and serene. Was this peace the precursor to something miraculous? Every question Mary had gripped her soul tightly now floated like feathers. What next? Would clarity come? "Prepare for the unexpected!" The proclamation rang out again. The tension thrummed with potent energy. Where was God leading them? What miracles awaited in the next moment? Mary's heart quickened once more, a mingling of apprehension and excitement. She felt the promise hanging just out of reach, a gentle nudge inviting her further into the mystery awaiting them. The silence wrapped around Mary like a comforting blanket, the aftermath of fervent prayers still lingering in the air. Every heartbeat felt like a collective thrum of possibility, resonating within the chest of each congregant present. She opened her eyes, and the light at the altar seemed to beckon her forward, urging her to step into something larger than herself. Let us breathe together, the figure said, his presence growing more vibrant. Inhale courage, exhale fear. This moment is a treasure, and so are you. The power in his words sent a tremor of resolve through Mary. She took a deep breath, filling her lungs with the divine air, cleansing her spirit of past doubts. With each inhale, visions of strength and healing danced before her eyes, painting a future filled with light. All around her, others were reacting. Their faces glowed, voices lifted in spontaneous adoration. Yes, yes, echoed among the benches, affirmations flying up like paper airplanes into the heavens. The shared anticipation coursed through the gathering, making their hearts beat as one. Feel that energetic current, the man beside her murmured, his voice barely above the joyful din. It's real, it's here, like electricity. Mary nodded, spirit soaring. She closed her eyes again, focusing on the pulse of energy swirling through her, a live wire sparking in her soul. Could it be true? Could this moment of unity be a fusion of purpose and divine intervention? Every second counts, the figure proclaimed, accentuating the urgency. Let go of your past, for the fruit of tomorrow is yes and amen. Mary's mind raced with visions of her family, her loved ones. Each face bloomed in her memory like flowers reaching toward the sun. She dared to imagine their brokenness mending, their hearts healed, as she spoke out loud, declaring freedom over them. Her voice rose above the sweet chaos that melded into a chorus of hope. I claim healing, she shouted, her intensity contagious. For my family, for me, we are whole, we are blessed. Suddenly, it felt as if invisible wings unfurled around her, lifting her spirit higher with each word. A collective response surged through the room, an avalanche of beliefs cascading into reality. Hands lifted, arms outstretched, prayerful declarations flowed as they joined hearts in a unified wave of faith. Softly, she felt the grip of the man beside her tighten, his pulse resonating almost in tandem with her heartbeat. They were no longer strangers. They were comrades in this divine journey. From the altar, the figure's silhouette shimmered, seeming to expand and fill the room with warmth. You are vessels of change. Out of your depths will spring forth wells of living water. His demeanor turned solemn yet radiant, reminding them of the gravity of faith in action. It's happening! It's happening! Another voice rose, a young woman near the front, tears streaming down her cheeks, her face illuminated by hope. Her joy pierced through the sacred atmosphere like sunlight breaking through clouds. Mary felt it all, the weight of their combined desires swirling, their dreams morphing into something almost tangible. Everywhere, eyes shone with eager anticipation. Yet, amidst the fervor, a nagging question lingered in the corners of Mary's mind. What form would this miracle take? Would it manifest in their lives as they divine desired? Was she ready to fully embrace whatever was to come? The figure at the altar raised his hands, still radiating light. Prepare your hearts, for answers are near, and the miraculous is standing at your doorstep. Mary felt a thrill run down her back. This was it, the moment of divine connection. What would unfold next? What awaited them all when the wave of expectation broke against the shore of reality? The air crackled with unfilled promise, drawing her closer to the heart of this mystery. She was on the edge of something vast, something extraordinary. Would she step through the door that faith was flinging wide open? With eyes closed and heart wide, she nodded to the universe, ready for the divine manifestation that was sure to come. A gentle hush fell upon the congregation, as if time itself held its breath in eager anticipation. Mary's heartbeat synchronized with the sacred rhythm of the space around her, echoing the desires that had surged through her and her companions. The figure at the altar lowered his hands, inviting them into a moment of stillness. Close your eyes, dear ones, he said softly. Feel the energy of love enveloping you. Let it wash away doubts, fears, and burdens. Mary followed his cue, drawn into the tranquility. In that focused stillness, the world around faded, and she could almost hear the soft whispers of the divine. Images flooded her mind, her family, their struggles, and all that they hoped for. It was as if she was standing on the brink of a river, shimmering with vibrant life. Hold tight to your vision, the figure urged. Believe in the miracle that is already unfolding. In the silence of your hearts, let clarity arise. Suddenly, a flicker caught her attention, a spark of light dancing within the darkness behind her eyelids. Fresh hope ignited within her, a burning sense of possibility melded with faith. She envisioned the chains of despair breaking free, each crack a note of freedom resonating in her spirit. Around her, the chorus of prayers surged again, voices harmonizing like a symphony reaching towards heaven. Mary's heart raced with each declaration. They were not just words, they were divine affirmations. "I believe," she shouted, her soul amplifying the collective cry. It felt as if her voice broke through barriers, reaching beyond the confines of everyday life. "Miracles are happening." With those words, energy pulsed through the room, igniting a flicker of joy in every heart. The young woman, still at the front, began to sway, caught in a dance of overwhelming gratitude. "Thank you, Lord," she cried out, her voice raw with emotion. "Thank you for what is coming." Mary felt the atmosphere shifting, pulling tighter, as if the heavens were parting. The man next to her grasped her hand, their fingers intertwined, a bond forged in faith. It was not just the two of them. This was a collective movement, a tide of hope swelling among them. "Now," the figure at the altar commanded, his energy radiating throughout the gathering. "Vocalize what you seek. Declare it with boldness." "Restoration," Mary proclaimed, her spirit soaring as she spoke. "For my family peace reigns, dreams restored." The words flowed out like a mighty river, and she felt the vibrations of life coursing through her veins. "We are whole. We are loved." The echo vibrated off the walls, leaving a residue of joy that wrapped around each person present. And then it happened. A soft, luminous light flickered from the altar, expanding and enveloping the entire room. Mary squinted against the brightness, her heart racing with exhilaration. Could it be? Was this moment the fulfillment they had been praying for? As the light enveloped her, whispers kindled within her heart. Words of hope, promises of transformation. It was an invitation to a new reality, one pulsating with energy and love. They were all invited to step into more than they had ever dreamed. "Go! Be ready!" the figure urged, arms raised in blessing. "The heavens have opened wide, and change is upon you." Mary opened her eyes, catching the enthusiastic glints in the eyes of those around her. Faces transformed, illuminated by the divine connection they had woven together. But beneath the excitement, a new question pulsed within her, a question that demanded her attention. What would this transformation cost? Was she ready to walk into the unknown, to embrace a path forged in faith? In that suspended moment, the room held its breath, waiting for the answer to unfold. What lay ahead was yet to be revealed. Mary stood still, heart fluttering wildly in her chest. She felt the weight of each breath, the anticipation thick in the air. The figure at the altar seemed to sense her inner turmoil. "Sometimes," he spoke, his voice calm yet powerful, "the hardest parts of faith are the steps into the unknown. But remember, love is the wings that carry you forward." She felt those words resonate within, igniting a flame of courage. Could love really be that powerful? She thought of her parents, her siblings, their struggles weaving through her mind like thread in a tapestry. Each thread held the weight of dreams yet to be fulfilled, but it was love that could stitch them together. As the luminous light from the altar swirled around them, Mary turned to her neighbor. "What do you seek?" she whispered, curious to hear how a stranger's heart might echo her own. The man smiled gently, eyes sparkling with shared faith. "I seek clarity for my path," he replied, gripping her hand tighter. "We are not meant to walk alone." Around them, others began to share their desires too, each confession spilling into the sacred space like jewels released from a velvet pouch. "Hope for healing," one called out. "Joy for our children," another chimed in. The chorus rose in volume and intensity, a wave of heartfelt pleas crashing like soft waves against the shore. Mary could almost taste the sweetness of their collective passion, the sheer beauty of a community unified. "Listen," the figure urged, eyes gleaming with a divine light. "Your words are the launch pad for miracles. Speak them boldly." Bolstered by the wave of support, Mary's resolve grew. "I seek transformation." Her voice rang out. Was it truly hers? "For this community, for my family, let peace and abundance flow." The altar flickered brighter, the air thickening with divine presence. Then, like a swift current, she felt a jolt as energy surged through her veins, wrapping around her spirit in an embrace that felt both familiar and electrifying. Suddenly, she glimpsed the truth. Her life, her family, this gathering, it all interwove like threads in a grand tapestry crafted by the holy hands of time. She was not alone in her experiences. They were all stitched together in the great design of God's love. A clamor of joyful exclamations filled the sanctuary. Tears shone in many eyes, and a collective gasp at the beauty of the unseen pulled them closer together. A ripple of faith washed over them, inviting every soul to glimpse the sacredness beneath their struggles. But in every miracle, there was a weight. Mary felt her heart quicken again at the thought. Was there really a cost for this transformation? Would it require her to leave behind the familiar, the safe? Don't fear the change. The voice of the figure broke through her thoughts, guiding her back to the moment. Instead, seek the love that opens doors you never knew existed. Discovery stems from faith. That thought wrapped around her heart, radiating warmth. Each heartbeat seemed to echo the promise of a new beginning. She looked around, connecting with the eyes of those present, filled with determination, shining with belief. They were all ready to embrace this journey together, but what if they faltered along the way? Would hope be enough? As she scanned the room, the glow around the altar dimmed slightly, leaving a shimmer in its wake. It was a sign, one that whispered of what was to come. The transformation laid before them was not just a moment, it was a calling to deeper faith and uncharted paths. And still, the question loomed within her. What awaited them as they ventured forward? What beauty? What trials? In that sacred silence, the air thrummed with expectancy, ready for the next chapter of their miraculous journey. In that charged moment, time stood suspended, and Mary felt a swell of anticipation course through her veins. The luminous light danced around the chapel, filling every corner with a sacred warmth, echoing whispers of promises and possibilities. "Open your hearts wide," the figure at the altar proclaimed, voice ringing with authority and love. "For today, miracles awaken fresh." Mary clenched her locket tightly, feeling the weight of her grandmother's unwavering faith resonate within her. "What do I do?" she prayed silently, her soul yearning for direction and clarity as the warmth pulsed with urgency around her. Suddenly, a palpable stillness gripped the room, the excitement teetering on the brink of manifestation. A collective breath was held as each heart prepared itself to absorb the transformation promised to unfold. Mary took a tentative step forward, emboldened by the energy radiating from her neighbors, these kindred spirits on a shared journey. "Let us move forward together," she declared, voice quivering with emotion. "Let's embrace the change." Her words echoed through the sanctuary, igniting a ripple of courage. Hands raised high, voices harmonized in triumphant agreement. "Together," they shouted, like a vast legion of faith surging toward a common destiny. As if in response, the light surrounding the altar brightened, swirling in a kaleidoscope of colors cascading throughout the chapel like confetti of divinity. The air thickened with an electric hum, crackling with the promises of heaven. "Look!" someone shouted, excitement punctuating their voice. Mary turned her gaze to the figure. He stood radiant, and behind him blossomed a vision, a dreamscape of abundance and grace unfurling like a beautiful tapestry. Flowers of every hue spiraled around, streets lined with laughter and love, each corner of the world bursting anew with divine blessings. "Now is the time," he urged, vibrant energy flowing from him. "Visualize what you seek, believe it, and watch as it unfurls before you." Mary closed her eyes, breathing deeply. With every inhalation, she envisioned her family. Their hands joined as they laughed, hope painted across their faces. "I see us whole," she shouted with unwavering resolve, joy and provision filling our home. The room ignited. "We are healed," echoed voices across the gathering. "Abundance is our destiny." They filled the air with proclamations, hearts pounding in unison with faith. As their declarations rose higher, Mary felt it, a warm breeze brushing past her, as if the divine presence itself was mingling with their hopes. She opened her eyes to witness tears of joy glistening in the eyes of those around her. "Together, we rise," she yelled, feeling buoyed by the spirit of the community. There was something magnetic binding them now, a shared faith casting aside shadows of doubt. Yes, another voice chimed in, love erases fear. At that moment, Mary knew, the true miracle lay in their unity, in their willingness to believe and stand together. They were woven into a sacred community where every drop of faith mattered. As we embrace the uncertainty, we become vessels of change, the figure called. Recognize that each faith-filled moment is a stone in the path of miracles. Mary's heart soared. She breathed in the truth of his words, embracing the promise of renewal and hope. Yes, it was scary. New trials would surely arise. But she had something powerful now, a family bound in faith, a community anchored in love. Now go forth, the divine figure urged, spreading his arms wide, offering blessings to every heart present. Your journey does not end here, it expands into the world. Each act of love and kindness reverberates through eternity. Mary felt the pulse of excitement race through her, raw and energizing. They weren't a mere congregation, they were an army of believers, ready to carve pathways of hope and grace into the lives of others. With renewed purpose, she stepped back from the altar, heart lifted high. We are ready, she called out, eyes shining like stars. The congregation erupted in applause, grateful for the divine blessing unfolding before them. The light intensified, bathing the chapel in brilliance, each flicker igniting their spirits, transforming their fears into flames of love. Never underestimate the power you hold, the figure reminded them, grounding them in their mission. Now go and let your light shine brightly. Mary stood tall, watching as families embraced, tears of gratitude flowing freely, her heart filled with overwhelming joy. This was the divine culmination of faith. An extraordinary gathering where hope turned into action and dreams into transformation. As the people dispersed with their hearts alight, Mary gently grasped her locket, feeling her grandmother's spirit beside her. She would carry her strength forward, sharing the love and miracles ignited in that sacred space. And with that, Mary stepped out into the world. A world painted anew with love, connection, and the promise of miracles just waiting to flourish. With each step, she felt free. Their journey was only the beginning, and she was ready to bless the world. The echoes of Amen lingered in the air, a testament of faith resounding in her heart, a reminder that together they had tapped into something divine. In this newfound unity, they found purpose. They would shine as beacons of hope for others, armed with faith that could change lives. So, dear beloved, as you reflect on this miraculous journey, remember, the power of unity and faith can change everything. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support for our community because your voice matters. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread this divine message even further. Comment below with your reactions and your testimonies about how faith has transformed your life. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. Every click is a step towards spreading hope and light.